Run it up, then run it back. Run it up, then run it back. Run it up, run it back. Run it up, then run it back.
Good Wednesday morning.
That was a little longer.
I know, I was like, are we canceled? I thought maybe they canceled the show right before and didn't tell us. It's Run It Back, FanDuel TV. Look who's back. How you feeling?
I'm feeling great. I missed you guys.
Do you think you really did?
In my head, you were just violently hungover, and it makes me so happy. Is that not true?
Come on, man.
Would you tell us?
We all have long nights,
Never.
Shams. It's
Oh,
cool.
we're all
Never
human.
for me.
We all have long nights,
Never
bro.
for me. No.
It's all
no.
good.
Never hungover, or you wouldn't miss work because you were hungover?
I would never miss. I love performing.
Oh my God.
But we're 100%.
We would.
Yeah,
We're 100%.
We have.
We have.
We will again.
Stadium Insider and True Profesh, Sham Charania, Chandler P, Lou Will. My name is Michelle, and guys, it's the second night in a row where somebody looked at a game and went, ooh, they're down big, let's put some money on it. And it worked out perfectly. No, I can't. I'm in California. I'm not free.
Blame Steph Curry.
Here we go. No LeBron did not matter. They come back from 19 points behind. We get a double overtime out of this thing. 128-124 is the final. Fourth win in a row. The 19 points down thing, again, is huge. Anthony Davis and Austin Reeves. That is the story of the night, Chandler. When you're watching this one what'd you think? What was it telling you?
Well, that this team is resilient and that no lead is safe. Like, this was crazy. The Bucks, they played really, really well, and the Lakers never hung their head. Anthony Davis was an absolute monster. The fact that he played 51 minutes, continued to stay healthy, had 2 huge blocks at the end of the game was massive. Austin Reeves with a triple-double made big shots, and everybody at some point through overtime or double overtime made a big play, whether it was Rui scoring or D'Lo making big free throws, Anthony Davis with huge blocks and buckets, Austin Reeves making big shots. Everybody contributed. Spencer Dinwiddie had a huge 3 in the double overtime. So this was a balanced attack, and when you get guys going like this and scoring and playing this many minutes and their defense is kind of flying around, this is why this team is dangerous. And this was a great comeback win and a big part of the season. Anthony Davis, 51 minutes, I think.
52
minutes? 52,
yeah.
It's unbelievable. The fact that he's healthy and has that energy and that motor right now at this point in the season is a huge sign for them.
It's also kind of nice, I would think, Lou, that LeBron can have this time. He doesn't have to rush back. Like, there have been years in the past where he would have to rush back because if he didn't, then they were doomed. But now you can kind of sit back and watch, and they're able to do something like this.
Listen, give him credit. He needed big nights from everybody. You know, Austin Reeves, big night. D'Lo, big night. We expect big nights from AD. You know, so I think he did his thing. To play 52 minutes and will them to a win was great for this basketball team. And so, like you said, it buys time for LeBron at this age and trying to make a long postseason run. This was good for them.
Was it a magic tweet? Please tell me it's a magic tweet that we have. Yes, I love it so much. They gave the NBA fans a double overtime thriller tonight. The NBA is fantastic.
Well said.
I live
Well said.
for his tweets, Lou. I really do. They're some of my favorite that exist.
Do you follow him, actually?
Oh, I do.
You do?
And he follows me back,
Fun
which is
Magic
kind of a big
Johnson.
deal.
Hold on. Fun Magic Johnson fun fact. His first move as president of the Lakers was trading Lou. I just got to say that.
So you hate him?
Is that right?
Go on.
Fun fact.
So do you have weird feelings about it? or-
Unfollow him.
No, I'm not gonna unfollow him.
You know what? Actually, I don't feel funny about it because I knew I was getting traded. If you ever look at my last game with the Lakers, when I got subbed out the last time, like the coaches and everybody stood up and we were like hugging.
They knew?
I knew
That
I
was
was
it?
getting traded. Yeah. I didn't know where I was going, but I knew I was getting
But
traded.
you didn't know Magic was at the front
I didn't
desk?
even rationalize that.
weird
Like I
moment.
didn't even think.
Yeah, so I just thought about that. in the moment.
That is interesting though.
Sean.
Yeah,
I think of weird
Scooped
stuff
into A
sometimes.
block.
but yeah, he did me a favor. Thank you, Magic.
There you go.
Appreciate
See,
that.
it worked
Much
out.
love.
Maybe he'll tweet about it later today. The 52 minutes is kind of a big deal because in doing so, AD became the first Laker since Kobe back in 2012 to put in that kind of minutes. He also played in 96 out of the last 100 games. This is unheard of and kind of awesome. Is he underrated at this point, or did we talk too much about him in years past that now we're
Can
just...
be an underrated
he's-
$100 million guy.
Yeah, he's not underrated, but I think we have such high expectations for him, and like when he has games like this, we expect that. Like Lou said, the triple-double from Reeves, the buckets from Rui, those are almost shocking, and those are huge plays. When we see Anthony Davis do stuff like this and have dominating stat lines, it's because we know how good he is and how good he can be. But his value also, it's not all just the points and rebounds. It's all the block shots. It's all the offensive glass. It's how he doesn't even get block shots sometimes, but he alters the game. He scares people from driving. He's got kind of that Wemby effect where a 2-on-1 fast break against AD, it's not a guaranteed layup because he's so long. He's got great instincts. Exactly. He puts fear in the offense's head when they go to the rim. So he does have that juice on the court that there's no easy buckets with him.
Where is he in your defensive player of the year scope?
I mean, I think it's Rudy's to lose now at this point, but it was Rudy and Wemby, and he's right there. I think the way he affects the game, like I said, the blocks. The last night he had 2 huge blocks on Damian Lillard that kind of solidified the game. And I don't see this on here, so I'm gonna talk about it. The review, Shams, we just talked about a little bit before the game. It doesn't make sense to me because there was a play where D'Lo got fouled at the end of the game, right? And they didn't call the foul, and the ball ended up going off his fingertip. They review if it went off out of bounds on him, but then they see that it's now Milwaukee ball. But they also, during the review, they see that he was hacked, and they don't change that to a foul. So the Lakers got screwed on that. The Lakers got screwed on the Giannis travel no call, which is a blatant travel. So I'm glad the Lakers won this game because they really got shafted by the whistle at the end there. But those are 2 plays that if you can review an out of bounds, you should be able to review those judgment calls too because they're dead wrong.
Yeah, because what are you doing? You're just ignoring what it's
Think
showing
about, you're
you?
showing that it's out of bounds on D'Lo, but you're also showing that he was hitting the arm, but you can't change that, but you can change the out of bounds. It makes no sense.
We need to fix that, Sean.
I hate it. You review it just to get half of the possession right.
I don't know. I want the review. If you're reviewing that it's out of bounds, let's focus on out of bounds because you open up a can of worms for the game to be completely different if you try to go back and say, well, this happened and that happened on every single play that's being reviewed.
Yeah, but at least do it like the final 2 minutes or something where you can get the
I wouldn't
call
hate
right.
it if it was the final 2 minutes in a
Because think about it,
I would love it. We already taking too much time up with these.
It is. There's
anyways.
some long reviews that kind of ruin the flow of the game, and as an audience, it's obnoxious to wait to see it. But this is like they reviewed the play and they got half it right when they know they missed the foul call.
It's like if you have the video of a crime being committed, and then in that video, the crime that you're looking for, there's also something else happening.
Yeah,
and you can't even address
like if there's another crime in the background, do you stop and say, wait, well, let me go deal with this crime as well? Like, no, you got to deal with the task at hand.
But then maybe that.
But if there's also like assault happening in the background, also arrest that guy. Why do half the job if you're reviewing it?
It is a little bit of a weird thing to sort of tell people. Like, you saw what you saw, but we can't change that. We can change this. Darvin Ham, very happy after this one. Had some fun with a reporter who suggested that they pull the starters in the 4th. Here he is.
How about those Lakers?
So you could smile. Darvin, you've had a...
It's alleged that someone in here was talking about pulling starters.
I said it was almost time.
But someone said it was time to pull starters.
It's not the first time.
Okay.
Seems like he's in a good mood.
Victory lap.
Big time, good mood. And it's always fun to just stick it to the media every once in a while.
And like we talked about yesterday,
What are you, Kim Mulkey?
We can tell. Did that article come out?
Not yet. Coming.
And like we talked about yesterday, no lead is safe. So if you're gonna, at this point of the season,
Fair.
you can, unless that game is over, do not pull your starters.
It's crazy that you have the Celtics one, and we'll get to the Bucks, but Celtics one night blowing a huge lead, the Bucks the next. These are 2 teams that are supposed to be in the Eastern Conference Finals. But Shams, I ask you, this Lakers win for you, what was the message you got?
What were the stats that Chandler, you went into the season like Austin Reeves? This is the type of players, 15, 5, and 5. And that's pretty much his average this season. That's what he's been this year. But without LeBron James in the lineup, 20 points a night.
There was no slight to Austin Reeves.
No slight at all.
It's a great season.
No slight at all. And that 15, 5, and 5 line, that gets guys paid a lot of money in the league. Obviously, Austin Reeves got his $56 million. That's a compliment to Austin Reeves and what he's been. I mean, this is a guy that went undrafted, made that team on a non-guaranteed contract. You look at his stats without LeBron James in 10 games, 20 points, 6 assists, 5 rebounds. I think he's showing he's got no ceiling, though, like, in my opinion.
Yeah, those numbers there are telling because that means he can take on more. He can take on more owner. Like, he's capable of having these games. So when their best player's out, this is a guy that you can run the offense to. Obviously, AD is still their guy, but him, D'Lo, they have all these guards now that can kind of carry that load on the offensive end.
So I don't know if he's going to be their superstar player this season, but can he emerge, turn into a guy that you could look at as a top 3. We talk about this team having a big 3. Could Austin Reeves be a part of a big 3? He's showing to me that he might not have a ceiling.
Wow, not having a ceiling.
I think he can be part of a big 3, but the big 2 got to be really good.
Didn't we start the season as they were the big 3, and he was the 3rd?
Yeah.
Right? That's how the season started.
And then it got weird,
Yeah.
and now here we are.
They're not standing on business, Michelle.
Is that still going?
It's
been like 2 months.
No cap.
Wow, no, that's still going too. All right.
That's longer than.
The LeBron part of it all, like, obviously he didn't play, Shams, but he also said before the game that he has to monitor his ankle and foot for the long run. What does that mean?
Yeah, they're going to be strategic about him, and he's going to monitor it. He's got to be smart about it. This is a guy that's 39 years old in his 21st season, so they're going to be smart about it. They play a back-to-back. I do expect him to potentially be back in the lineup tonight.
Oh.
Anthony Davis is the guy that I'm curious about. 52 minutes. I think his status going tonight is very much up in the air.
Surely he doesn't play tonight.
No chance he's playing.
No.
They're on a back-to-back?
Yeah.
In Memphis, though, so I could see them playing like Memphis, right?
Let's not forget the position that the Lakers are in. 52 minutes was last night's problem. Tonight we got a completely different thing.
They have a little bit of room, right? Because the Warriors are.
Yeah, but they can.
But they're trying to go.
I can see them like Anthony play tonight,
You gotta
run
play.
them out of the gym,
gotta
get up
play. You're on
big,
a
and then
back-to-back.
maybe pull your starters
You're off tomorrow.
early against the Grizzlies.
I mean, maybe you won't have to play the entire game to get this thing. You think?
Especially if it's a home game. He slept in his bed tonight.
No. They're on the road.
They're on the road
It's
tonight.
road.
Yeah, at Memphis.
Get your work done early, and then get on ice. And
Okay.
Well, that's how they got this win.
yeah.
So he got to play to the end.
52 minutes.
Bucks are a little better than the Grizzlies, though.
Okay, so
agree.
let's focus on the Bucks for a second. A lot of expectations there. A 19-point lead blown in the fourth quarter, and now having blown the second most NBA leads in the season, tied second for most blown fourth quarter leads. These are not good categories to be in. But I ask you, Lou, do you blame coaches or do you blame players more in this one?
Players.
Really?
Players when it comes to blown leads.
Okay.
You can make a case for coaches that can make adjustments on the fly when things are starting to go south during the game. But, for me, if you're up 20 and you're a team and you lose that lead, that shows me that you took your foot off the that shows me. Oh, I'm sorry. You cool.
I don't want to. I'm not looking.
But as a player, that shows me that you took your foot off the gas and the effort wasn't there. You can't. The coaches always have this saying, you can't coach effort.
Fair.
So if you have a 20-point lead, it's some things that Doc can adjust. That maybe he can stop the bleeding, but at the end of the day, you got to go out there and play. Giannis played 46 minutes of their game. Dame played 49 minutes. Chris Middleton was out there 40 minutes. Bobby Portis off the bench at 30 minutes. And if you look at the stat sheets, they all had big nights. They all had pretty consistent nights with what they bring to the table for this team. So that shows me that there's still some issues on the defensive end with this basketball team because they all scored the basketball at a high clip. I don't think that's a Doc Rivers thing. I think that's a player's thing.
And when a team is going on a run like that and on a comeback, like Giannis shot 6 free throws, like slow the game down, get downhill, get to the paint, get to the paint and slow down, get them out of rhythm. So yeah, I think it's like Lou said, it's more on the players to they're the ones playing, they're the ones controlling the game. And Giannis, Bobby Portis, get to the foul line, slow it down a little bit, stop letting this up-tempo pace that's going to allow that big comeback.
Shams, you should have said another night.
I feel like-
My boy going.
No, I've been where Shams. You know what?
No, I
He needs a
respect
fan.
it though, Shams.
He
Way
needs
to-
the
way to do it.
Chandler
Way to be
fan.
a
That's how
pro.
I am every day.
Way to be a
Fan?
pro.
We need the fan,
fan.
Way to be
please.
a pro.
I need the fan.
I've been there and I've done that. There was a moment in the second, LeBron's count. This whole thing with Giannis and the free throws. LeBron's counting how long it takes. I've wondered this now, though, because Giannis is clearly very aware that this goes on. Is he trolling? Has he added a couple seconds?
This is an old thing.
Yeah.
First of all,
It
he's
is- no,
counting
it's
too
gone on
fast.
forever.
Why, you got to go one Mississippi here.
Yeah.
But do you think he's added time on it because he knows and now he's trolling everybody? Oh my God, what is that?
No, I think this is natural.
Yeah,
this is how he
people have
naturally
been
shoots his
doing
free throw.
this.
This has been years.
And
I know that.
The away crowd has been
gotten
chanting
worse.
it. I
Yeah.
think this is just a way of kind of getting in his head.
I played him in the playoffs with the Atlanta Hawks, and the whole arena was literally one Mississippi, two. So this is
I
the
think
thing.
he's leaning in now. I'd like to go back and look at old footage. I think he's even taking longer than the original.
But
No,
he
the
hasn't done
originals.
one in a while.
The originals they weren't even counting. We had to protest to get them to start counting because he was taking so long.
This is more trolling and kind of reminding the refs, like,
Yeah.
hey, this is ridiculous.
Like, watch this.
And you would think by now, it's not like his free throw percentage is is getting better. Like, I think
fair.
he's over.
It's
I'm saying he's overthinking it. Just get up there, take one dribble, and shoot the basketball. I feel like when you have all these thoughts and you're slowing it down even more, just shoot the ball.
It's like golf.
Yeah, it's like you're standing over the ball, then you're gonna shank the ball. Like it's just shoot the ball. You're thinking about it way too much.
Yeah, Chandler knows. Don't think.
I know how to
That's
shank
a
the
better
ball.
way to live your life. We got another game to talk about. This is just the battle of, I don't know what the Heat are at the moment. They're just all hurt. But the Warriors, easy, 113-92. They didn't have Butler. They didn't have Hero. There's no Duncan Robinson. Klay Thompson with 28. Curry with 17 and 6. Draymond, 4, 9, and 8. 4 is weird. They walked away with a pretty easy win against a very beat-up Heat team.
Good pass.
But here's where I have to draw the line.
Kuminga, best athlete in the world.
Yeah.
Kuminga.
He's one of them.
But who knows not? Draymond Green, look, you have crossed some lines,
One of
sir.
them.
You're a habitual line stepper, but you don't do this to Patty freaking Mills. Ever.
Oh man.
It was called a common
Common
foul,
foul.
by the way.
Hey, you know what? This is.
I mean, come on now.
I want to be on Draymond's side so bad.
But you can't.
I told him.
You can't do it. You can't do it.
Look at this.
I mean, that's assault.
I want to be on Dre's side so
They
bad.
called that a common
You
foul.
know what? I'm gonna say this. I respect the fact that a common foul was called here, because this, I would make the case and say, if this was anybody else, it would be a common foul because it's Draymond. This would probably be a flagrant one. If I didn't know better, I would think this is a flagrant
Oh,
one.
I
Same
think
team.
the opposite. I think he's getting a pass because
That's
he's
what I'm saying.
Draymond
He's getting a
Green.
pass.
Yeah.
So I respect.
Why
it.
are we giving Draymond
Like,
Green,
I
of
think
all
if
people-
anybody else on this floor did this, I think it's almost a flagrant 2 and they're tossed,
Yeah,
dude. You
give him-
can't rap. That's not a
give us a
basketball
pass.
play. And also, like Michelle said, it's Patty Mills
Patty freaking
setting a little back screen. It's not like he did anything physical. It's not like he did anything dirty. He's just simply setting a screen. So with everything that Draymond's been through, it's just crazy we're even in this position to talk about something that could be misinterpreted as flagrant or flagrant.
No, but I've always said it. Listen, if this is your enforcer, I want my enforcer to be my enforcer. I don't want him to go out there worried about what everybody's gonna say.
Clearly he's not.
I don't care about what everybody's opinion is. This is my position for this basketball team, and this is what I'm gonna do. This is how I'm gonna carry myself. And it works for the Golden State Warriors. So I don't. If that's who he's gonna be, I don't want him to change.
But not to Patty Mills, Lou.
I
Not
like
Patty.
Patty.
He
I like
dodged a
Patty.
bullet here because this could have been.
He definitely dodged a
This could
bullet.
have been flagrant, and there could have been another suspension.
Yeah.
Well, we still got a lot of time left in the season. 2 teams we got in this one. So I ask you both, Chandler, you first. Which one do you think will have most postseason success? This is sort of a weird.
Can't wait to hear this.
Yeah,
The Heat.
All right. Cool.
easily. You didn't think.
Cool.
Yeah, I think the Warriors have just been too inconsistent. They've been too banged up. All the drama they've been dealing with. I don't think they get in the playoffs. I think it's going to be either the
One and
Lakers, Kings, or the Mavs.
Okay. Wow. So they're
They can
the
hold
only
off
one.
Houston.
And maybe even Houston comes creeping in there. So I think they're in a tough situation. I think with the Heat, it's all health. They've been so banged up. You just list 6 guys that were out last night that are valuable contributors to their team. When they're fully healthy, we know how good they can be. We know how they defend. We know how good Jimmy Butler takes up a notch in the postseason. So I not only do I like the Heat more than them, I like the Heat to advance and win a first-round series.
I like the Heat. I like the Heat as well, but the circumstances are different. You know, obviously the West is a lot stronger than the East is when it comes to the depth chart from teams 1 through 10. So the Miami Heat sitting at 7. I think they got an opportunity to be better in the postseason than the Golden State Warriors, even winning the first round, going and advancing, like Chandler said.
I will say the one good thing about the Warriors that are, if they do get in, they're going to be a 7 or 8 seed. They are 18 and 19 at home, and they are 19-15 on the road. So that experience, that age, they're a better team on the road, which
Right.
doesn't usually happen. So I think that is the one kind of shining bright spot that if they do get in, they're still confident that they can
That's
go.
good journalism right there.
By the way, those numbers though are.
Yes.
That's good.
They're not awesome,
None
but
of
they're
that's
still,
right,
it's
not right
a
home
It's
about
better.
big difference, yeah.
It's better.
Okay. Steph said, and we've gotten to that point in this Warriors reign where it's like we're now having to take quotes from Steve Kerr and Steph because that's kind of what's left here. It looks like he says they're a good team and they can still beat anybody. Chandler, I don't know.
I'm buying it that they can beat anybody. Can they beat anybody 4 times in a row in a playoff series? I don't think so. But we're saying this about a lot of teams this year. We realize that. We're saying it. The Warriors, they're good. The Lakers, the Suns, they're going to figure it out. The Clippers have been up and down. So the only teams that consistently have been winning are the Nuggets, the Celtics, the Thunder, and the Timberwolves, which is crazy to say. But there's these teams that have a history, that have a resume, that have so much talent and good players that we still have that. I'm not counting Steph Curry out. I'm not counting LeBron James out. know, now we have like 10 games, and they're literally fighting for a play-in, and the Houston Rockets, who are their best player out, are literally right on their ass. So
all the Cinderella teams are proven winners.
Yeah,
so you got to take that with a grain of
It's-
salt. You got to put that in account.
Yeah, it's not like these are, you know, young teams that are trying to figure it out. These are all really good vet older teams that are built to win now that just haven't panned out. So, yeah, I think they can beat everybody. Yeah, I think they have the best player on the floor. A lot of nights with Steph Curry. They just have to get more production from Wiggins. Klay Thompson had a great game last night with 28. Their rookie, Podziemski, he's kind of hit a wall a little bit. He's got to be productive. Kuminga's got to keep showing signs of development. So, yeah, I do think they can beat everybody, but they've dug themselves a really, really deep hole.
Rockets play the Thunder tonight, by the way, so that's kind of a fun one to keep your eye on. We mentioned the fact that Miami was missing 3 pretty key dudes. Are they optimistic they'll have them back for the postseason?
Duncan Robinson, there's optimism he's going to be back at least within the next week or so. He got testing on his back injury, but the good news is it showed no major damage. The hope is he's back sometime in the next week. The big worry is Tyler Hero. He has not played in a while. There's no real sense when he'll be back and when he'll be available. He got a PRP shot a couple weeks ago. Still no clear sense on the timeline. Jimmy Butler, he was out sick last night. The hope is obviously he's going to be back next week.
We all hanging out? Is that what's going on there?
Yeah, he was in LA for a day. And
He could. Would you put it past Jimmy Butler to be in LA for a day?
No.
No.
It happens.
That's what cool
It happens.
people do, Sean. We're going to take a quick break. When we get back, more hoops right here on Run It Back, FanDuel TV.
They run it back, run it up, run it back, run it up, they run it back.
I don't have Wi-Fi.
But wow, that just happened. The Western Conference has some good game. There's a good game tonight. We just mentioned tonight or last night we had Thunder Pelicans. What's even happening today? Everybody's out of it. Thunder hang on late in this one. 119, 112. SGA 24, 8, and 7. Y'all aren't that great. Jalen Williams with 26 and 5. Holmgren 16, 9, and 4. Zion though did have 29 with 10 assists, 5 rebounds, 3 steals. But Shaq pregame. And Lou's been preaching it all season long, by the way, said that SGA should be the MVP this season. So, Lou, since you've been on this since day one, what about the season, now that we've made it almost all the way through, has really made that a fact for you?
Consistency. SGA, the Oklahoma City Thunder, they have been consistent this entirety of the season. The longest losing streak they've went on is 2 games. So when you talk about a team that's turning the corner, that's a young team that's going to have trial and errors, they haven't had very much. They haven't had a lot of tribulations in this season. They've been able to weather a lot of storms, and when things even get bad, 1 or 2 games, they can correct it and get back on track. And I think that comes on the back of SGA and the MVP season that he's having.
It's not that we thought he was crazy when he said it, but for it to be so clear right now is...
It's crazy that he called it before the season even started, and how good of a year, and just knowing how young this team is. I knew that SGA would have a good year, but would they be in the hunt for the first seed in the Western Conference? No chance I thought that. So I think that is his biggest advantage. And we could be, with those odds right there, plus 1,100, we were talking about if they finish in the first. If they finish first in the West, then I mean I still think it's Jokic, but I think
we should catch these odds while they're there.
100%.
Yeah, could someone in a free skate put a bet
they
for
come
me?
down.
It's crazy what they're doing. I saw a stat that average age of the Thunder's starting 5 maybe or team is 22 and a half years old. It's the same as UNC's basketball.
Is it UNC?
UNC.
Are you saying
UNC or UConn?
UConn.
I think it's
UConn.
UNC.
Oh, I thought it was UConn.
It's UNC.
Wow, you're so smart. Who I have winning it all.
So that is crazy to me that he's carrying this team too. The Nuggets are champs. The Nuggets have, Jamal Murray. The Nuggets have had this solid starting 5. We know what we're going to get from them. So it's most impressive to me that SGA, this guy is 25, 26-year-old, is carrying this young core, this young team to possibly a number 1 seed in the West. It's nuts.
I'm more concerned that UNC's team. Their average age is 22.
Yeah, they better win it all.
They really should.
Homie from yesterday is telling UConn could make these play in. They should. They're older than the Thunder.
College has changed, y'all. You know this.
By the way, your guy said he was kidding, by the way.
I know. I try to tell you, Greeny's not a hot take guy. He's not click. Look, there are plenty of yellers out there.
Sick joke.
We appreciate it.
Maybe he's just feeling, chill.
Trying to have a little bit of fun in the morning.
There are enough people on that network that say ridiculous things for clicks. We don't have to pick on Greeny for that one. SGA, we know what he can do on the court. Talk to me about off the court, his ascension so far.
Yeah, on the court, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, MVP candidate. He's on a max contract through 2027. But off the court, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, is going to be a sneaker free agent in September. He's with Converse right now. His contract expires in September. Industry sources tell me he is the next star in line to receive a signature shoe deal. There's several companies he's going to be in discussions with showing interest. But Shai Gilgeous-Alexander will have a new sneaker shoe deal.
I love this.
Whether it's at Converse or elsewhere, and he will get a signature shoe deal.
He's so cool and so trendy. I could see him doing his own thing. Like,
I was just
you know
gonna
what I mean?
say.
Like I could see him making his own sneaker.
Some high-end cool shoe.
I like where he is. I've had the pleasure of working with Converse before. They don't have the departments that the Nikes and all of this do because they're more of a lifestyle brand. But they put a lot of resources behind the athletes. I would like for him to try to do something special there and grow with that brand.
Like stay and
He's
make
gonna
that
have
his.
options.
Yeah.
He could be he could get a Nike shoe, he could get an Adidas shoe, he could go Chinese and get an absolute
He's going to be
bag.
one of
Like,
many guys if he does Nike or Adidas, anything.
That's
I think
Converse,
he
could stand alone and be a trailblazer like you
I don't
just
think Converse has a signature shoe right now. He'd be the guy. Yeah.
Oh, I kind of love this for him. Yeah, he is very cool and very fashionable.
We should have knew when he got a Skims deal he was gonna have a big year.
That Skims ad is sassy.
She can't miss.
That's the giveaway right there.
Oh, she can't miss.
Yeah.
Zion, very impressive this season. Really turned things up, though, in the last couple of months. It's like he's mad at everyone. Top 15 player in the league. Has this season given you hope that that's where he can live? Lou, you're first. No, Lou, you're first. Don't.
I mean, it's there. It's there. Can he be a top 15 guy? Yeah, but he's earning it. He's earning it. But
Love it.
My issue with Zion isn't a Zion issue. It's so many of these guys making a name for themselves, turning the corner. You know, you're looking at the Ant Edwards of the world, the Shai Gilgeous-Alexanders, these young guys, the Jason Tatums, the Jaylen Browns. You know, these are guys that have been consistent building their names. You know, even the guys that are on his team, Brandon Ingram and C.J. McCollum, these are well-respected guys. So for Zion to be having the season that he's having, great for him. He's putting himself to be back in that position of being talked about as one of the top players. So I can see it for him.
Yeah, top 15 is a stretch. When you look at him, he's averaged 23, 5, and 6. I think that's like a down year. I think he could do so much more than that. As good as he's been lately, I think he can average 28, 10, and 7. Like, I think he's that talented. I think he's that explosive. So I do think he's one of the most electrifying players. He's one of the most fun players to watch. It's always been about his weight or his health, and now he's just hooping, he's having fun, and his team's winning, and nobody's talking about him. And now with Brandon Ingram out, he can even do more and showcase his skills and really dominate and carry this team. So he's got a chance. He's got a real chance to continue to. He could crack the top 10. He's that talented.
I want to ask you about the Pelicans themselves, because as far as getting in that top 4, they've won 2 of the 3 since Brandon Ingram went out. Can they get that 4 seed and keep that 4 seed without him down the final stretch? I know it's them, Clippers.
It's gonna be a fight.
Back and forth.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fight. I think the Clippers wake up at some point and get back on track before this season is going. But give New Orleans credit; they are rolling. They're playing really good basketball. It look like they're gelling at the right point of the season, going into the post. It looks good. It's going to be a battle. But, I think the Clippers stay strong at 4.
See, the Clippers have been so inconsistent lately that I don't know if this is a little seggy of who we're talking about next, but the Mavs are absolutely rolling. They look great. They have a chance. They're a game and a half back, so they have a chance to go and sneak in there and get that 4 spot, too, if the Clippers don't get their shit together.
It wasn't a seggy, because we're actually going to take a break now. You mentioned UNC, we got UConn, Greeny, all the things that are happening in college hoops, so why not bring in Jon Rothstein to talk about it? That's happening next. Run it back, FanDuel TV.
Run it back, yeah. Run it up, run it back, run it up, run it back, run it up, run it back.
Well, you've seen him because you've been watching the madness. CBS College Basketball Insider. He's also a FanDuel partner, Jon Rothstein. All things college basketball is here today. And look, we don't need to get in the details about our brackets that we each have. They're awful, John. But the Sweet 16 is a day away. There have been some upsets. It seems like we've got a lot of 1s and 2s left. What's your biggest takeaway so far in the madness?
Well, I think the biggest takeaway in the madness is that the heavyweight teams in the NCAA tournament have all remained in the NCAA tournament. This is the first time since 2019 that all 4 number 1 seeds have advanced to the second weekend. Then March Madness is also for the dreamers, for obviously the Cinderellas. And that's something that I think really dominates the first 2 days of the event. But when you get further along in March Madness, if you want to bring people in from the periphery, people who aren't the diehard college basketball fans, you want to have big-time matchups, and that's what we have this week.
Yeah, John, I usually don't fill my bracket out with my heart. I try to use my brain, but this year Florida duped me, and I thought they actually had a chance. They looked good. They showed flashes. What the hell happened to my Gators?
Well, the big thing you have to remember with Florida is that Florida's starting center, Micah Handlogden, was lost, obviously, with a leg injury in the SEC tournament. That left Florida, obviously, very vulnerable defensively at the 5 spot. Who did Colorado match up with in the round of 64? Florida. And Colorado was anchored by Eddie Lampkin, who has tremendous size at 6'11", a real broad body. That was something that was exposed against Florida, with Colorado being able to establish Lampkin in the post. So a really tough matchup. And also, Colorado is a team, even though it started the NCAA tournament in the first 4 and was firmly on the bubble the final month of the season, there is big-time talent on this roster. Cody Williams was a projected lottery pick. Tristan Da Silva is somebody who can obviously play at the next level. And KJ Simpson is another player who, again, was having an All-American caliber year, but probably didn't get All-American caliber recognition because Colorado didn't have a season where it was firmly in the NCAA tournament.
I should have asked John before I filled out my bracket.
Should have
I don't know
talked.
why.
No, believe me, guys, the more you know about this, the worse you do in your bracket.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
So, John, did you have a favorite moment that stood out to you in the first 2 rounds?
Yeah, that's a great question, Shams. I just think that so many unpredictable things not just happen in the NCAA tournament, but also in the conference tournaments that set the table. So there were 2 moments to me that really stood out in time in terms of the mid-major perspective. Yale in the Ivy League tournament title game was losing for 38 minutes against Brown and was fortunate enough, after Brown missed multiple free throws, to get the game-winning basket against Brown to clinch the automatic qualifier to go to the NCAA tournament. Yale then goes and beats Auburn in the round of 64. Then, obviously, we have to touch on Oakland and Kentucky. Oakland had a star in Jack Golke make 10 3-point shots against Kentucky. Where was Jack Golke 5 years ago? He was redshirting at a Division II school, and he became a player via the transfer portal that wound up being a star in March Madness. Those are 2 mid-major storylines, and the storyline with NC State is one thing I want to point out too, just in terms of the totality of it from 30,000 feet. NC State finished the regular season at 17-14. The Wolfpack were nowhere near the NCAA tournament discussion. NC State then won 5 games in 5 days at the ACC tournament to clinch an automatic qualifier. No team has done that since Kemba Walker and UConn did it at the Big East tournament in 2011. And by winning the ACC tournament and getting the automatic qualifier, Kevin Keatts had an automatic provision in his contract that triggered a 2-year contract extension. Then on top of that, NC State wins 2 games in the Sweet 16. Kevin Keatts, regardless of what happens against Marquette, should just forget about spring recruiting and go right to the Amalfi Coast. He has no reason. He's going out on a high note.
Wow.
Speaking of NC State, John, they're 11th seed, highest seeds left in the tournament. Yeah. Do they have the magic to make a run for the Final Four behind big man DJ Barnes? And I got to ask you also, are we seeing the reemergence of big men in college basketball again?
I like him.
That's, I think, the main difference between college basketball and the NBA. And, I'm not going to sit here like you guys and act like I watch NBA games. But, you see more back to the basket guys in college basketball like we had in the 90s. DJ Burns, Zach Edey. Obviously, we just talked about Eddie Lampkin. There's more of that. But, guys, the big difference for me with NC State has been the insertion of Michael O'Connell into the Wolfpack's lineup. In the NCAA tournament, he's got 14 assists to 3 turnovers. He has completely recalibrated that team, their rhythm and their flow offensively. And, it's going to be interesting to see how NC State does against Marquette, because you have a traditional back-to-the-basket big in DJ Burns against Oso Ighodaro, who's somebody that Shaka Smart has kind of made into a point center. He can bring up the ball. He can be in a situation where he can obviously initiate offense. So it's a unique contrast between those 2 players.
I got NC State. I like
Nope,
NC State,
which
means Marquette by 20.
Oh, I know. Don't say that. We want to root for them. So we got to talk a little Zach Edey. I know his coach is out there, defending him. He's 2-time National Player of the Year. He's been dominant. However, people keep talking about the fact that his comparison in the NBA is Boban, who is lovely and wonderful, but I wouldn't necessarily look at Boban as an NBA comp that a kid is probably hoping to have. So what is it about Edey that people don't think will translate in the next level?
Well, Michelle, the guy that I think Zach Edey is most reminiscent of in terms of the way that he's playing, and I'm not saying he's exactly going to be like this, but I felt like he has been a version of this player in college basketball, is Yao Ming. When you look at, obviously, the way that he kind of can command such a presence on the floor and so on and so forth. And I think the big thing we've seen about Zach Edey is Zach Edey has gotten significantly better each year that he's been at Purdue. But this is a legacy weekend, not just for Purdue, but for Zach Edey. I mean, let's think about the totality of his career in the NCAA tournament. A couple of years ago in the bubble, Purdue loses to North Texas in a 13-4 upset. 2 years ago, Purdue, on a team that had Zach Edey, Travion Williams, and Jaden Ivey, was a 3 seed, played a 15 seed St. Peter's in the Sweet 16, lost that game. And then last year, Purdue was on the wrong end of the biggest upset in the history of the NCAA tournament when it lost to Fairleigh Dickinson, a team that, remember, did not win the Northeast Conference tournament title. Merrimack did, but Merrimack could not go to the NCAA tournament because of a transition rule, and then therefore was not able to play in the field. So FDU went to the NCAA tournament by default and beat Purdue. So the Zach Edey stuff is about legacy. Purdue, you can't really erase what happened against FDU and St. Peter's, but the demons can be exercised by winning 2 more games and going to a Final Four for the first time since 1980. One thing I want to bring up, guys, that's interesting. Obviously, Virginia was a team that lost to a 16 seed in 2018 and 2019, came back and won the national title. Tony Bennett has texted Matt Painter about using last season's loss as an incubator for a great turnaround. We know that life is not a movie, but if Purdue wins 2 more games, it will very much feel like Hollywood.
Could be a movie.
That's crazy.
NC State's kind of a movie. By the way, is he a first-round pick? I mean, is that happening or no? Does it matter how he finishes this season, or has that already been determined?
Are you asking me or are you asking your
No,
panel?
I'm asking you.
Ask Shams. I'm not on the NBA draft kind of thought process
Shams,
right now.
get back to me on that. Is he?
I will get
Yeah.
back. I'll report back by tomorrow.
He is huge.
Yeah, he is unlike anything we've seen in college basketball. And guys, he's the first player to win National Player of the Year, which is a formality here, in a couple of weeks, to win National Player of the Year in back-to-back years since Ralph Sampson did it at Virginia in the early 1980s. I mean, that's 40 years ago.
Seems like a big deal.
So,
Yeah.
John, to you, which conference has exceeded expectations?
It's definitely the ACC, Shams. They've performed exceptionally well in the NCAA tournament, but I want to make sure that I make this clear. Just because the ACC continues to perform well in the NCAA tournament does not mean that it necessarily deserved the volume that maybe other people thought it should have in the NCAA tournament. What I mean by that is this. The ACC now has had 5 of its 15 teams reach the field in 3 consecutive NCAA tournaments. And the ACC in those 3 years is 29-11 in the field. But I still feel that this conference is not getting the same type of mileage in terms of NCAA tournament representation that it hopes, because it's not getting anything out of Louisville, who's still looking for a coach, out of Syracuse, who has not made the NCAA tournament since 2021. When those primary brands are not producing, your league obviously takes a step back. Now, the ACC deserves full credit for what it's done in the bracket, but if you really look at things from the ACC's perspective, Duke and North Carolina were locks. Clemson started out the season well, struggled a bit, was a little shaky in January, and to their credit, have recalibrated things during the Sweet 16. Those are 3 teams from the ACC. NC State, went to the NCAA tournament because it earned an automatic qualifier. And then Virginia, who was blown out by Colorado State in the first 4, was a team that I did not have in my bracket on Selection Sunday. I had Seton Hall over Virginia in my final bracket, and Virginia was firmly on the bubble the last month of the season. So the ACC has done really well and should be commended for that. But only 3 of the 5 teams were comfortably in.
Is there, I don't love that we have so many 1s and 2s left, because, when you fill out a bracket like I do,
Why not?
that's not fun. But is there a particular matchup in this next round that you look forward to more than the others?
Illinois, Iowa State's a fascinating contrast of styles. Iowa State has been, tremendous defensively this season, has a point guard in Taman Lipsey that can really, really control things. When you look at Illinois has, I would say, the most potent scoring combination from a wing perspective in the tournament. Terrence Shannon Jr. and Marcus Domask combining to average over 55% of Illinois' points in the NCAA tournament. That's a really fascinating game. Creighton, Tennessee is also extremely fascinating. And then the game in Los Angeles between Arizona and Clemson is a tremendous contrast in styles. I was fortunate enough to be on the call Sunday for the Clemson-Baylor game, and Clemson was able to completely take the air out of the ball against the Baylor team that had scored 54 points in the first half on Friday against Colgate. So that's a unique contrast of styles in Los Angeles between Clemson and Arizona, which will no doubt be in front of a very pro-Arizona crowd.
John, your brain is a fascinating machine. We're just sitting there going, God, if we knew anything as much as you know this.
Right, that's
Should have had him before.
we should have asked before we did our bracket.
We appreciate the time. We'll be watching this weekend. Thank you, sir. And we will
All right, guys, great visiting with you.
Appreciate it.
Run it back, run it up, run it back, run it up, run it back, run it up, and run it back.
I am too.
Put a ring on it. This is all for Lou. I'll say.
Lou, are you gonna put her? Lou, are you putting her? Are you breaking news for us here?
Listen,
You're putting a ring
The
on
fact
it?
that you were listening to country
the
music.
day I
yesterday
put a ring on
I love that.
anything, will be breaking news to all of us.
that could be
You're gonna
a lot
give
of
it to.
things.
You're gonna give it to Run It Back, right?
Sean.
You'll never get that scoop, Sean.
Wait, no, give it to me so that I can scoop shop.
It won't be a scoop.
Fine.
It won't be
We'll
a
just
scoop.
lie then. All right, player's name. I'm gonna say over under how many rings they're gonna finish their careers with, and yeah, we'll go from there. First up, the face.
This is so hard.
It is very hard. Anthony
That's
Edwards.
what,
Okay, 22 years old. We know this. Coming
Yeah,
off his
grew up.
first All-Star appearance. Over under for Anthony Edwards. Chandler, you first. 1.5 rings.
I'm gonna say over. I love him. I think he's so young. He's gonna be so good for a really long time. The Timberwolves are building something over there. And again, championships. Who knows what he does at the end of his career?
point.
12 years from now. Who knows? So you know what? I'm gonna believe in this guy. I think he's one of the most entertaining, best two-way players in the NBA. I'm going over for Anthony Edwards.
Over.
I like over as well. Puts the work in. Great personality. Everything that you can imagine in a young guy that you would want to start a franchise with, that you'll want to build around. I'm going over too.
Let me ask you this: Is it the Timberwolves championship that he's going to be bringing, or is this going to be somewhere else?
6 months ago, I'd say no chance. Now, I mean, they're building something. You look, the Thunder are going to be in their way for long years to come. The Spurs are awful this year, but they are going to be building.
What's that?
They're going to be really good soon. And then you have these older teams where we have kind of the end of, these guys that have been in there's still really good teams out there. So I don't know if it's going to be in Minnesota. I don't know when it's going to be. I just like him going under or over. He's so
right.
young and he's so talented.
At least 2. Okay, Jokic. We already know he's got the 2 MVPs this
spiraled
season.
there.
You did. It's going to be 3 probably. He's already got 1 championship and looks like very well could be on his way to another.
Ooh.
Lou, you first. Over under 2.5 for the Joker.
I'm going to go under.
What?
So he needs 2 more?
He needs 2 more. I'm going to go, I mean, there's only so many rings. We're going to give 2 to Ant-Man. We're probably going to give a couple more to Jason Tatum. Give 1 to James Harden, baby.
You're going to get what?
I don't know.
Okay, hold on.
No, I think that group is still in there.
Yeah, a couple more to Jason Tatum.
No, well,
I
getting
thought
away
you said
the
James
rings.
Harden.
Well,
No, he did. He mentioned him. He's
Looking
coming up.
ahead.
Did you say James Harden too?
I'm just looking
He
ahead.
did.
I'm
okay.
just looking ahead, Shams. I think this is the prime. I think this is the best we're gonna see this team. I could be totally wrong, but I just feel like that window is gonna start closing as these other teams start to get better and better and become more competitive. So to see him get 2 more, I can see him getting 1. I don't see him getting 2.5 more.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, I think under 2,
under.
and I also don't think he's the type that's gonna ring chase. He's not gonna
No.
go sign on a good
Right.
team later in his career. I
he's
think
just
literally
leave.
gonna ride
he's
off.
gonna
this
go
season.
back
he's
and
leaving.
ride a horse off of us.
Literally.
So yeah, I like under here. Again, that's no knock. It's just we're 2 more.
We only have so many
championships,
years.
And how many more years has he got playing? You know what I mean? So I got to go under here.
That's fair. Okay, so then we'll get to Tatum. Obviously does not have 1 yet, 25 years old, 6th year in the league. He has made it to 4 Eastern Conference Finals. That could be a good or a bad, depending on how you look at it. Over, under 1.5 for Jason Tatum.
Over. I think he gets 1 this year, and then I think he
What?
still has
No chance.
8 to 10 more years to find another one. So I think he's an Anthony Edwards type talent where he can do everything on the floor. He plays defense. He's going to be in the MVP talks every single year for the next, however long he plays and stays healthy for. I like him over, and I like it to start this year. Celtics were our pick in preseason, and they're still my pick right now.
I got over as well, you know, and like I said, that's the only knock that I have for the Joker. I think these young guys that are still trying to find their way to get over that hump, I think they put a lot of pressure on him to get rings, and I think Jason Tatum is going to be one of those guys. So.
Do you want us to take a break while you drink and throw things in the trash loudly? Is there anything else you need? Lord, I don't get it, because I know we're talking about there's only so many years unless these guys all jump on the same team. We're running into a math problem. But you've got Jokic, who already has one and in a good position, having the same amount as Tatum when it's all said and done. I don't see it.
Well, I think just the Celtics right now, we've been talking about how this is their time. They've been to four, you said they've been to four, Eastern Conference Finals. I think this is their year to get one. So I think he's going to play a really long time. I think he's got a lot left in the tank. So again, there's so many young teams. The talent is so high right now that I think the young guys almost have an advantage. And Jokic, it's more like a personality thing. Like I said, he's not going to go and hop on the Thunder in 5 years. I mean, he won't do that.
All right, Harden still chasing that first one, guys. Over, under 0.5.
I got over.
Gonna get one.
Yeah, the Clippers are my pick for this year. I think this is the year that it happened, so I got over.
I think over too, because I think he is the type of guy that will go and get it. I mean, he all he needs. He's had every stat, every award. All he needs is that championship. So I think he will find a way to get it.
I mean, we're running into some math issues here. So let's see where.
By the way, these guys could get it on the same team.
I was thinking that. I was like, what if they
James Harden could go to the Celtics next year and get it?
That could happen.
It. You know what I mean?
It's not unheard of. Luka, ringless so far, has made it to a Western Conference Finals. He just turned 25, Lou. Over, under 1.5.
Now we're running out of
now. The math.
That one's tough.
I'm gonna go under.
Because one is good.
Yeah, I'm gonna go under. One is good, and I would like to see the new ownership group come in and put some assets around Luka that gives him, a clear-cut opportunity to win championships. Right now, I feel like they're a competitive group, but obviously other teams are trending up. So I got under.
This is the test for Chandler. He wants to stay over.
It's so hard. I'm going over. I think again. We're kind of just throwing these championships around there like they're candy, but
we're like 9 years.
Yeah. I like over. I think he's
just trying to be mindful of the math.
He's such a good talent. New ownership. They're going to continue to build that whole franchise. They're going to build a new arena. They're going to make Dallas a new Vegas. And Luka is going to start getting more talented teammates. This is one of the better teams he's been on this year. I don't think he's a contender this year, but I think they continue. People are going to want to play with him.
What is this, year 7 for Luka? Is this year number 7?
Is it?
If I'm not mistaken,
sounds
6 or
right.
7?
Yeah, he was a kid. We are now at year, I think, 8, according to your
Everybody gets one. You get one.
Yeah, well, because here we still have SGA, by the way. Over, under 1.5. And now we're going to be at 10 seasons.
Under.
Okay.
I don't know why. There's not
because you gave over to Luka, probably.
There's not enough.
Well, I have an over left.
Unless half these guys join up and they get on the same team, like we said with James Harden.
I got an over left, so
here's the problem. He should be the most obvious over because he's on the youngest, best team, arguably, in the NBA. So if they continue to build this, they don't lose guys to free agency. Chet continues to grow.
So what's your pick? Over or under? Because you said both.
I don't know, Lou. Over. Under.
Under for Chandler.
There's too much talent.
Over for...
I'm going over.
Yeah, you're sticking with your SGA. And you're sticking with your Luka. You guys are on brand. I can't complain. Shams, did you care about anything they just said?
I think they were on point with that.
No, you're the worst.
We're just passing out championships over here. You want one? Shams, we get over it.
Over, under.
Lou lost. You said James Harden?
Yeah, that's
I said 1.
Lost me.
I hope James gets
Unless
one.
he jumps up.
We all want James
Clippers
to get
are
one.
my pick for this year, so.
I can see James Harden going back to the Thunder.
Ooh, hot take
You got
for
a hot take
tomorrow.
on the show.
Yeah,
What?
deal.
Run it up, run it back, run it up, run it back, run it up, run it back,